Good day and welcome to this short video on the learner management system induction. My name is Shingai Chanya and I will be taking you through the assessment process. So the objective of this short video is to take you through firstly the assessment, the bigger picture, where we'll discuss what assessment is and why it's so important to the accounting profession. Secondly, we'll discuss about the structure and content of the ICAS training program. We'll also discuss the key players in the assessment process. And we'll then discuss the rating scales, the decision trees, the assessment instruments, and also the developmental needs. Assessment, the bigger picture. So the goal of accounting education and training is to produce competent professional accountants. So as accountants, our main objective, or as trainers of accountants rather, our main objective is not only to create people who are competent in accounting, but also we want to develop people with the skills and who can contribute to society positively through their work. So what ICAS has done now is that it has come up with a comprehensive training program, which then molds or develops an accountant who is competent in terms of accounting, who also contributes positively to the profession and society as a whole. So this is what we call the training program, or the ICAS training program. So training exercises cognitive skills, and training really includes workplace-based activities for developing an individual's competence to perform tasks relevant to the role of a professional accountant. So training may be undertaken on the job or off the job. So on the job, we are saying these are the day-to-day tasks that that an individual will be required to do, or that an individual has to achieve on a particular period or in a particular training period. And then off the job training, it involves simulation, and this is where there is engagement, where we develop theoretical situations so that the trainee can then learn how to perform a certain task, even when they are then required to perform the task on the job. So it is important for us to note that both the on-the-job and off-the-job training are done in the workplace. And the workplace training and experience must complement the formal education program that one is undertaking, so that we can then create proper career development. Having identified what training is, we then need to then measure the performance of an individual against the set criteria, whether one is competent in a particular skill. So that is where assessment then comes in. So assessment is the collection and evaluation of evidence of a trainee's work, so that a decision can be made on whether they meet certain requirements or they meet certain competency levels. So I highlighted before that training defines cognitive skills, or it describes cognitive skills, while assessment then comes in to measure those cognitive skills, whether you are now competent in a specific set of skills. So a key difference between assessment and training is that the training describes competencies and prescribes the degree or the level of competence required, while this assessment measures the degree to which these levels of competence have been achieved and identifies the opportunities to improve on the levels that you have achieved. So it is important to then see that assessment requires the achievement or the provision of certain evidence. So evidence is defined as the proof produced by a trainee that shows that he complies with the requirements for being found competent. So the quality of evidence must be assessed before the assessor makes the final decision regarding the competency of the trainee. So when the assessor is then making the decision on whether an individual or the trainee is competent in a certain skill set, he or she can ask themselves a few questions, which include whether the trainee is able to do a certain job, and what other learning the trainee needs to achieve to be deemed qualified. So it is the assessor's responsibility to ensure that the evidence collected is sufficient and appropriate evidence, and has been collected to make an accurate judgment on a trainee's competency level. So as I highlighted, it is very important to accumulate sufficient and appropriate evidence so that anyone in the process, anyone at ICAS who is assessing or who is then signing off the student is able to reach a decision based on that evidence. We do not want evidence that then raises a lot of questions rather than answers whether one is competent or not. Moving on to the structure and the content of the ICAS training program. So you'd see that the ICAS training program has been broken down into 7 core subject areas. So these 7 core subject areas include accounting and external reporting. It also includes audit and assurance, financial management, management and decision-making, risk management and governance, and taxation. So you will notice that in terms of the technical subject areas, there are 6, but there is now a specific inclusion of professional skills as a subject. So what then happens is that these 7 core subject areas are then subdivided into 3 groups. These are the compulsory, elective, and residual categories of subjects. So it is important to highlight that all trainees are required to gain exposure and achieve competence in all the subject areas. However, the degree or the amount or the level of competency is that then varies depending on the nature of the industry and also the business model of the training office. So you'd see that within the 7 core subject areas, there are different tasks that one must achieve or that one must perform so that they can be deemed at the end of the learning process to be competent in all 7 core subject areas. And we are saying now that the level of complexity that defines the context of work performed is the one that then categorizes whether a skill is compulsory and elective or residual. So this diagram basically summarizes what I've been saying, where we have the compulsory skills in the circle in the middle. We also have elective skills, and then we have residual skills. So you would find that in terms of compulsory skills, we have 2 skills or 2 subject areas, which is accounting and financial reporting. And then there is the pervasive skills, or what we call the professional skills. So what we are saying is, in terms of compulsory, all accountants or all trainees, whether you are training outside public practice or you're training inside public practice, all trainees must achieve these skills at an advanced level, right? And then the elective skills. Elective skill will now then depend on the industry to which you have been attached to during your training program. That is, the training office, what does it mainly do? What is its main objective? Is it audit and assurance? Is it an organization that aims to provide internal audit services? Is it an organization that aims to provide taxation services? So an elective skill will then depend on the industry to which one has been attached to. And then that would mean that once you have selected a certain skill to be an elective, it means that you have to achieve a level 4, or what I would want to call an advanced experience. You should exhibit advanced experience or advanced skills. You should exhibit these skills in an advanced settings. So this would mean that once you have selected the compulsory and elective skills, you have now achieved a total of 3 core subject areas. That would mean that the 4 remaining subject areas then fall into the residual skills. And what we mean by residual skills, we are saying that you have to exhibit these skills in a basic or simple context. So this then raises the question of what is basic and what is advanced. So advanced simply means that a comprehensive understanding of the concepts and techniques and an ability to apply these concepts and techniques in complex situations or environments. While basic means that there is a basic understanding of the concepts and techniques and an ability to apply these concepts and techniques in simple and uncomplicated situations or environments. All right. So in terms of determining whether a skill should be achieved in an advanced or basic environment,